All right, Corinne.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Corinne. Corinne, tell me where you grew up. Where are you from?
I was born on Long Island, New York, Riverhead, out very tip of the island before you get to Montauk, I guess.
Yeah, and tell me about your family, your childhood.
um, my mom followed my grandparents to Florida when I was just a baby. She remarried, and I actually didn't know that my stepdad he adopted me when they were married, and so I actually didn't know that he wasn't really my father until 12. I actually figured it out on my own. But I mean, it wasn't like I didn't care. It wasn't a big deal. It was like, you know,
He
I
was your
just
dad.
yeah. I mean, he's a great dad. Yeah. So, um, but yeah, I grew up in a mom and dad
How would you describe your
suburban
How would you describe your
neighborhood.
childhood?
I was a very anxious child. I was very shy and very, I think I just had a lot of anxiety, which started at a very young age. And I think my mom just didn't, I think she didn't understand how to, that maybe that was something that needed to be, you know, helped. She just kind of was like, why are you like this? And it's, why can't you be like other kids? And I'm a child. I'm not trying to be anxious. It's just that I don't know how else to be. So, so it was a little hard, because I don't think that even though there was a lot of, like my grandmother had a lot of issues, with mental, and she was a very anxious person too.
Were you an only child?
I am an only child,
Mhm.
yes. Um, and so, it was just a little rough because I always felt that my mom didn't understand exactly what was going on. And I think she was very, I don't know, like now you would call them a helicopter mom, I guess, but she was like an extreme helicopter mom. Knew everything that I was doing all the time. And, there were times when I guess, I was going through when I'm 12 and 13 and you're like, starting like your hormones and you just don't know, or just like starting to go in, like a little bit crazy maybe. I don't know. There were times when I know I probably wasn't the easiest kid. Um, but my mom really just, I mean, I love her and I forgive her, but she did the best that she could, how she thought she could, and she does love me, and I love her, but it was very hard. We had a very difficult relationship, which manifested into me eventually after college leaving Tampa, Florida, which is where she lives still, and I haven't seen her in 25 years.
Oh, really?
So we talk though, um, not as much. Since the pandemic, I used to kind of have a habit of calling her on my way to work, and we would chat. But when the COVID hit, I just, my schedule, it just got weird because I was at home all the time, and I was working remotely, and so we weren't in that like same habit of talking all the time every day. Um, but we talk. We have very, very differing views, pretty much everything. And, so I think still to this day, I'm like always looking for her approval. I think she always says like, why didn't you could have done this, or you could have done that. You could have been a doctor. You could have been a lawyer. Why don't you become a CPA? And it's like, I don't know why she can't just be proud of me for what I have done and accomplished, instead of wishing, because that's just not what I wanted.
What kind of jobs have you done?
So I went to college for architecture, but I switched to fine arts. So I graduated with a BFA. I did not know what I was going to do at all with that. And so I went back home after school, and I ended up working part-time as an assistant, like an executive assistant for a general manager for a chain of optical stores, and eventually their bookkeeper, retired. So I became a bookkeeper, which I still do to this day. um, Although I have had other creative jobs, I always have fallen back on bookkeeping as my main gig.
You're very into art and fashion
I am.
and music.
Yeah, I was a drummer in some bands. Some like punk and indie bands when I was younger. I really am into art. Fashion is my main, I guess, obsession. I did have my own jewel. When I start something, I just go in and like I'm obsessed. So for a long time, I was making jewelry at home, and I was just like amassing this like huge amount of handmade jewelry, and I started wearing it, and people were asking me like, "Oh, can I buy that? Can you make me something?" So eventually, I was like, "I guess I can try to sell things." So I was selling jewelry here in New York at a few stores, but eventually they had to close down due to economy issues. So that was my creative outlet for quite a while. I was making jewelry. But I kind of gave that up too and focused on, I guess, collecting fashion, if we want to say.
Yeah, is it collecting, or is it becoming a compulsive?
It's a compulsive-ish problem, I think. I know, we were talking before about love, and I think that feel like I'm trying to, that's what it does. It gives me that like rush of, when I find something that I really love and I buy it, and then it comes in the mail, and then you open it up and it's this like present to yourself, and then you get this feeling of like, oh, this is so nice, like I'm so happy, but it only lasts for so long.
Seems like similar to the feeling of love.
Yeah, it does.
Have you been married?
No,
Never married. No kids?
no kids.
No kids.
No.
So your shopping addiction, let's call it. Can you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it almost feels like I would think people are going to be like, wow, what is her problem? She has money to buy like great clothes, like amazing clothes that she likes. Like, why does she have a problem? Like, that's not a problem. But you know, it can become a problem. I started off, thinking as myself as a collector, collector of these beautiful objects, and then I get to wear them.
Tell me about the items you're wearing right now.
So I have a few designers that I really love, Vivienne Westwood being one of my favorites. So I am wearing a lot of vintage Vivienne Westwood at the moment. My shoes, my pants, my shirt.
And these are like collectible items. These aren't just
Yes.
like vintage collectible things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your cape?
This is Rick Owens. I have my bag is Comme des Garçons, which is another one of my favorite designers.
So your shopping addiction you're selecting the higher price items, the more unique ones.
Yes.
From designers.
Yes. I tend toward the more out of the box, I would say, kind of fashion.
And is your closet insane?
Yes, it is insane. I had to install closets because there were none in my apartment at all, except for one. And I had to install closets all the way around my room, and they're completely jam-packed full of clothes and shoes.
Designer.
And jewelry. Yes.
How much of it do you never wear?
So that's what's so hard, is because I forget that there's things in there. It's hard to even find things. It's hard to I don't know. It starts to feel like you have a weight on you. And I mean, even though these are things that I love, they start to own you in a way. It's hard because I get really fixated on something, and I'll want it, and I'll find it, and I'll buy it. And, through the pandemic, I've been working remotely, so it's not that I go out like often. So I feel like, why am I doing it? But I still do it. I can't help it. I can't help myself.
Has technology and the ability to shop online rather than going to stores changed the way your compulsion?
Yes, definitely. I've been here in New York City for almost 20 years. It's changed a lot. There were places that I would shop here, but they're all gone. So I turned to online shopping, and I think that's when things just exploded, because it was like when I found certain websites that I particularly use, there's just so much that I could find that I liked, and it's, and like I said, it's almost like you're waiting, and you get this. It's like a present. Yeah, like I said earlier, it's like giving yourself a present, and it's just I don't really know how to. It's hard though, because you get, sometimes you get the guilt, shopper's guilt, where it's like, why did I buy that? I don't need that. Or you just you're addicted to the feeling that you get when something comes in the mail and you've been waiting for, and it finally comes, and you open the box and you're, you know, but then that only lasts for so long, and you do it again, and you do it again. And for me, because I get so like fixated sometimes on just something, and I have to like look for it and find it, and and then I get obsessed, and I'll buy everything I can, because like I love it. Like, can't help it. It's Vivian.
How much of your weekly paycheck will you spend on items?
So I have tried to, because although I make a great living, I was like still using my credit card, and I finally was like, I can't do that anymore. And now I only buy with the money that I make. I would say, I mean, it depends. It depends on the month, but I guess maybe 50% of it.
You been in love before?
I don't think so. I thought so,
You think maybe this?
but I don't think so.
You don't think so? Do you think this is maybe
Yeah,
a replacement for that?
yeah. Yeah, it's hard because it feels like I said, it feels like people are going to be like, that is not a problem. Why are you, like, I don't know. And maybe that's just how I feel, like that people are going to feel that way. Like, who's this girl, like,
Well, it's not like you have a
buying all this like high-end fashion and thinking like that she's got a problem.
well, I mean, you don't, it's not like you have an opiate addiction
No.
or a gambling problem where you're just throwing your money away.
Yeah.
You're doing something that makes you happy.
Yeah.
Do you think has this replaced another addiction or any other addictions you've had in the past?
Um, yeah, I think, you know, my mom, I think it all started, I don't know if it started that way. When I was a kid, and I was really early 80s, and I was really into like, new wave punk rock and, stuff like that. And I was, my mom kind of, although she hated everything, seemed to hate everything about what, I liked, her way of kind of appeasing me in certain situations is she always bought me things that I wanted. And I think, I'm still searching for her approval. So maybe, I moved from, in my earlier life, experimenting with other, like maybe with substances. That was a long time ago. And then that didn't do anything, that wasn't. So I think that it transitioned into this because I was really, I think I'm still searching for love or to love myself.
I think we all are.
Yeah,
Not just you.
yeah. Or to get approval still.
Hmm.
And
It beats alcohol.
yeah, I guess. Yeah. I just worry that it could get to a point where it's too much. Collecting is one thing, but I don't want it to pass the line into becoming a hoarder. Although I don't have the tendencies of not being able to throw something away or anything like that, or give something away.
I think hoarders probably just have everything, including junk, all over.
Yeah, that's not
You
me.
sound like you're collecting higher end items.
Yeah, yeah. But eventually, where do you put them when you live
Yeah.
in a one bedroom in New York City?
Right.
You know, if I had a house and I could build a like huge closet, in a room and had my, everything, it wouldn't seem like anything, no one would think a second thing. But
Does the fact that you don't have that much closet space left slow down your spending?
um, yeah, it has.
If you had two giant walk-in closets, you'd probably be in trouble.
No, because I could fill them already.
Oh, really? Wow.
So, um, yeah, I think I could probably already fill them.
What were your best memories in your life?
My grandparents, um, they lived in Ruskin, Florida, on the Little Manatee River. They had a few acres of land there, and the river was literally like in their backyard. Um, and I mean, my favorite memories are of being there. Um, my grandfather had a huge garden, and he was amazing with plants and things like that. And I would go there and I would, you know, take my little net and I would catch butterflies and insects and put them in little, the little containers that you could look at them, and then I'd let them go, and I would go down to the river and I would scoop up fish and fill the little aquarium in the garage, and then the next day I would let them go. And there was just like so much space, and I could roller skate around where they had paved for the driveway because it was a big, like, huge, round area.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it was. Found a lot of Native American artifacts on the property, um, which my grandfather donated to the museum in the area. Um, but it was just such a lovely, lovely spot. And sometimes manatees would come in. So it was just, yeah, that's my favorite. Those are my favorite memories of being there.
Those sound great.
Yeah.
And what's been the roughest point of your life?
Um, I think uh, probably high school. Um, Actually, before that, I would say like fifth to maybe 8th grade, 9th grade. I dealt with some bullying. Which, because I was already like kind of a very timid and anxious person, it was just really, back then it wasn't like it is now. It wasn't talked about. And of course it wasn't online, because I didn't have, when I was in 8th grade, I still had a phone that was connected to the wall. So, it was just a lot of stress, and that was very, I didn't understand.
Yeah, bullying can be very destructive.
I didn't understand why I had a male bully and a female bully. So I just didn't understand why they hated me so much. I never did anything to anybody. So that was just really hard. And that's probably the worst times.
It's horrible. Do you have friends now?
No, not really. I still have the friend that I went to college with in Charleston. He's still my friend. But I kind of I have a tendency to isolate myself. I don't know how to maintain friendships, I think. Sometimes I think because when I was younger, I wasn't able to, I didn't know how to keep a friendship because I was never really had friends over or much like that, anything like that. So I don't know. It kind of, right now, and when the pandemic hit, I just kind of hermited myself away, and I lost touch with a lot of people. And so right now, I would say not really. I'll go through phases where I'm very social, but then I will go through phases where I just isolate, and I go to work and I come home and that's me. I don't go out, I don't do anything, and it's crazy. It's like you're in New York, the biggest city in the country. Why wouldn't you go out? But there's times where I would just hermit myself away, and it's sad, and that's when friendships fall away. And so when COVID hit, it triggered that in me again, because I couldn't go anywhere. I was stuck at home, working from home. Couldn't go out to, my job every day, and couldn't do anything for a while. So I started shopping like crazy, and that's when it really boomed. It was just over the last couple of years, it probably got a lot worse than it.
But you've had romantic relationships. You've had boyfriends.
I have, yeah. I had my first real, I had boyfriends. I really didn't have a boyfriend until college. And he was actually a really nice guy, but after college, he was a year behind me, and I just kind of was like, okay, see you later. I don't know. and then I met someone else when I moved back after college to Tampa, and we were together for a while. He proposed to me, and but it was just another like falling, like I don't know. It was like he couldn't keep his job. He was in a band that was actually pretty like popular at the time, like in the indie circle, I would say. Like, and so like recording albums with like actually, producers and things. And he had, things just like went haywire, and that just threw me into a tailspin. I had pretty much a nervous breakdown at the age of like 25.
Mm.
I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was actually up here visiting my friend. I came up to see a friend in Philly, and then I came to see my college friend. He was living here in New York, and I started having panic attacks, and I didn't know what was going on, and they were just constant, like one after the other, and I didn't understand like what was happening. It was the worst feeling, and people that have never had a panic attack don't understand how horrific it actually is. And I called my parents and I said, I have to come home. I don't know what's wrong with me. So I literally like didn't know what to do except drink, because I was like, that's the only thing that could kind of calm me down. I was literally drunk for like 2 days, and I had to get on the plane, and I asked the woman before we even took off if she could give me a drink. She was like, no, we have to wait till we take off. But yeah, I mean, I got back to Florida. I had to move back in with my parents. I couldn't leave the house. Became agoraphobic. I was seeing a neurologist and a psychiatrist. They put me on medications. I started to get better eventually. And then, I found out that my grandmother had similar problem at around the same age. And, none of these things were talked about, so I really am, it was kind of like my mom just didn't know, like, what's wrong with you? Just like, like, do it, like, just get up, go outside, like, what's wrong? And I just couldn't understand, that there might be like a chemical problem or something triggered.
Have you taken medications for brain chemistry?
I have, yes.
Are you currently on something?
No.
Do you think they help?
I am seeing someone, and because I had some health issues too, and this is something I don't want to really talk about, but yeah,
You don't have to.
okay. And so I am like somebody, I am speaking to somebody. So I do see someone, like, and they want me to start taking medications, but I keep putting it off. Like, I don't want to, I don't know. Obviously, it's depression and anxiety. So.
Is depression and anxiety what you've dealt with the most in your life?
Yeah.
Emotionally?
Yeah. I mean, I never really thought of myself as depressed, but I think I just always was. So it was just like my baseline, And And then I would get anxiety in there. But, I get panic attacks sometimes, but nothing like, that. That was horrible. I still have anxiety issues, and sometimes I know that for a lot of people this time, with the pandemic, it's been really hard on people, and people get depressed. And I think buying clothing was something, like I said, was like a self-love, like trying to find something to give me like happiness for a little while. I think that it can only, but it only lasts for so long. So like I said, I have to do it over and over and over and over.
Which you have.
Yeah, which I have. Yes. So it's just I feel like it's like, we were saying, it's not really, you can't, I almost feel like you can't equate it to being such a bad thing, but it can be, or at least it can feel that way. It can feel like things start to own you, and they are oppressing you after a while. Instead of giving you that feeling, it starts to do the opposite.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. What are you afraid of? What do you worry about?
What do I worry about? I worry about where, I don't know, if I want to stay in New York. Because I feel like it's lost the essence of the New York that I really liked.
Because of technology and COVID and things like that?
Yeah. And just economy issues,
Yeah,
and
a lot of things have shut down.
yeah, almost everything that at least I felt, if you, of course the tourist things are all still here, but if you live here and there are things that become, your like special, like things that you like, and when they all start to disappear, it's just hard to want to stay. So I worry about that. I worry about where I'm going to go if I do leave. Worry about what I would do with all my stuff. That's one thing. Moving, and it just makes me almost nauseous, because I don't even want to have to start to like think about going through my stuff and getting rid of things and packing and stuff like that. I worry about being alone. I worry about, I guess, yeah, I worry about being alone,
Sure, we all do.
This woman with fabulous clothes, but all alone, I don't want to be that.
If you had your life to live all over again, what would you have done differently?
That's hard, because don't know that I could have done anything differently.
When you're bullied as a kid, you can't really figure it out at that age what you should be doing,
Yeah,
for example.
yeah. It was really hard for me. You know, I just even going to college and finally, being away from my mom for the first time. That was just, I think, I don't know. I think maybe if I could do it all over again, I would have taken more time before going to college. Because I don't know if it's right to just immediately force, have a kid go straight from high school into college and really know what you want to do with your life.
It's a lot of pressure
Yeah.
to make big decisions
Yeah.
at an early age.
I think I would have tried to take some time and figure out myself. Because I think I was kind of steered a lot by my mom in certain directions. And I think I understand because she wanted the best for me. And I think I didn't understand, like, because we're so, we're so different in our ways of thinking. I just didn't, I don't know. It was just really hard time. And I think maybe that's what I would change, is taking some time off after high school to try to figure out my life and myself. Because I think because I just went with the flow of what I was supposed to do, I kind of feel like I still am looking, trying to figure out myself and try to love myself. Because I think I don't know, I think sometimes the clothes maybe are like an armor too. Although I don't dress to not be seen, obviously. I do, but I don't know. It's almost like, fuck you, that's how I want to look, And I wish more people did that. I don't know.
Have the style that you
I don't know.
do.
No, not like me.
Not like you.
But
Everyone has their own
yeah,
style, but
yeah. I don't know. I just
the lack of style can be shocking to people who have it when you see it in others.
yeah. But I mean, I understand.
When you see people just wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt and
Yeah,
flip-flops,
yeah,
it's just hard to
yeah,
understand sometimes.
yeah.
What would you say, Corrine, is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
It's funny because even though my mom and I had it was a very tumultuous relationship. I know that there were things that was trying to explain to me. I mean, I think the thing I've learned is that you really got to give yourself some time, because you really don't know everything you think you know when you're young. So I think that's the biggest thing I've learned is that yeah, you really do realize things as you age that, and I don't know. It's such a hard question to answer.
We're not as smart as we think we are.
Yeah. I feel like that's it. You think you're so smart and you know everything when you're a kid and you want, oh, I know that I want to do this and, yeah. Sometimes you do need to listen to people that are older than you. They might have something to say that could benefit you.
For sure. All right, Corrine. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thanks, Mark.